Hello folks, it's Ben, and amongst our beautiful flowers here we have a muffler for a car. But which one? Let me show you. Our 1994 Chevy Caprice station wagon with an LT1 350 V8, 5.7 liter. Our patch that we did to the muffler sucks. It leaks. It's hard to stay on. Probably be better if I used rivets, but I didn't. So long story short, we're gonna just replace it with that new one. So, next shot will be the car elevated and ready to go. Alright, wagon butt up in the air, soft cushy blanket for me to lay on. What we're dealing with here is we have a muffler clamp here, our awful patch of course in the middle right there. I removed the wheel for access. And then right here we have another muffler clamp with a custom made welded bracket that I made for it. I'll link to the video right now. But that helps us because this universal muffler that we purchased wouldn't quite fit if we hadn't done this, so it works out nice. So let me tripod the camera and let's start cutting this thing off. First we're going to remove the muffler clamps if those rusted bolts will come off. Good shot of thread lubricant, 9/16 inch socket. These guys probably are not happy to go. We'll see. Sometimes you have to cut these off. Or they just break off. Let's try the other side. I have not taken this one off since I've had the car. So that was 50,000 miles ago. Hey, this one doesn't want to break. Alright, this one's as good as undone. Next! Front one's off, now the back one. This one is not as old, like I say, but it's custom, so I gotta reuse this one regardless. And if it was me who did it, and I'm sure it is, then it's for sure stainless steel. But the other thing is it's got thread lubricant on it, so it's not gonna be as a pain. There we go. Okay. This one's gonna fit me the whole way. So both clamps are off. Unfortunately I broke this one, so I'll have to kind of use it to hold the exhaust system up while a new one holds the pipe on. No big deal. Now you have two choices. You can either hammer the darn thing off or cut it off. So I'm gonna try hammering, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off because hammering's not going to work. So after dinking around, I found a good angle having my saw upside down and just cut up from the bottom up to the top here, and I'm about to finish cutting off the pipe from the back exhaust. Okay, with the back cut off, the rear exhaust pipe fell off. That's the resonator, goes up over the axle. No big deal. Gives us easier access to the muffler, which now it's off the car and off the muffler, we can probably just cut a slit down it, split it off, get it off the pipe. So what I have now is two jacks, one jack over the muffler, one over the exhaust system since we don't want it to fall, since the muffler at the back holds the whole system up pretty much. So now I can come in, cut this pipe right here with my electric saw, and we'll continue on our way. Our favorite part of the show, fault analysis. Here's a new muffler, here's the old muffler. My crack is obviously migrated over, plus it has a rust hole there. It's all rusted along that seam there. Otherwise it looks good, but it was the flapping that was so bad. If I pull this back, you can see where the number is etched into the but that's one reason why my screws didn't work. Honestly, they need to be longer because it looks like this chamber is fine, but this crack was just so flappy and rusted, so that's why we're getting rid of it, putting on the new one. Installing is now really easy because we're dealing with new parts. Mufflers are designed to go over your original equipment pipe here, and what I've done on the pipe here is I've marked a ½ an inch, and an inch and a half, because our little extension coming out of the muffler is 2 inches long. We want our clamp about in the middle, but we want some space to also be able to cut this thing off when it rots out. So it should as long as your pipe's relatively round. You may need to round it, because sometimes when people put muffler clamps on, they squeeze them till they're infinitely tight, and that's no good. You just need it for it to seal. But what we'll do is we'll put it on. It fits over. I'm gonna put this side on first because it's more wiggly. And I'm gonna shoot for 1.5 inches. And what that does for me is it allows my muffler clamp, my exhaust clamp, to be about in the middle, yet still have that cutoff space that I'm looking for. And once that side's on, I'm gonna work on the other one, which should be just about as easy, and then we put our clamps on. Alrighty, now that I have my hands clean enough to manhandle a camera again, let's show you what I've got here. We've got our 2¼ inch inlet pipe clamped down really tight. What I ended up doing was actually putting the pipe in the back of the muffler, then coming in here and aligning everything, because you really want to work from your front back. So we got this one in as far as we needed to. We got the muffler level, clamped it right down. Then we moved out back. Installation is much easier than taking it out, honestly. Then we have this whole mess of clamps back here. Let me explain it. It's a 2-inch outlet, so we have our 2-inch clamp there, clamped to our pipe. We had to make sure our over the axle exhaust pipe it was all aligned again, which it now is. And traditionally, and I don't know if you can see it from me showing you or not, but the other muffler on the other side has 2 pieces of metal that come out into these rubber supports here, and that's what holds the muffler up, holds the rear part of the exhaust. And like I said, the old one broke, and this one doesn't even have them, so I have to reuse my clamp I broke. What I did is, because it was broken, I can't quite just clamp it back on the exhaust pipe, there's too much give. And I had also bought a 2½ inch muffler clamp, so that's what's holding the other clamp on, is this 2½ inch is holding the other 2-inch on, which is actually holding up the suspension. So I clamped a clamp to keep the exhaust up. But that's it. I'll set the car down. I don't expect any problems. If I do, I'll just tighten up the clamp some more and make them a little bit tighter. That's how you change a muffler in a 1994 Chevy Caprice station wagon.